Yeah, so as everyone is joining us and we're getting a few more people coming in. Again, my name is Mark Siegel. I am the Director of Science, Health, and Physical Education for the district. Dr. Kerrigan is here with us also. He's the Director of Mathematics. And Ms. Gibbs, our mathematics teacher and advisor for our STEM pathway program at South. So Ms. Gibbs, we look like we have a pretty good population of people right now, and there'll be a couple people coming in. So why don't you kick it off and give us a little overview of what our STEM pathway is all about?
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming tonight. I'll just talk briefly about the STEM pathway. So as you guys heard earlier, it is set up through guidance, and it's for students who are interested in one day pursuing a STEM career. So they don't need to have a career path in mind. All they need to know when they join the STEM pathway is that they really like science, technology, engineering, and or math. So the purpose of the STEM pathway, it provides courses through their schedule to help gear them into deciding what kind of career they want to pursue in college and help expose them to the different options they have through taking science and math related courses. There's also a lot of STEM electives that's built into their schedule. On top of the courses, the STEM pathway also provides students an experience to have presenters come in from the community and talk about their careers in a STEM related field. So each month we have a speaker come in to talk to the students. Last month we actually had a previous Middletown South graduate who is doing engineering at Stevenson's. So she came in and talked to all the students in the STEM pathway about graduating from South, how she applied to colleges. She gave the students really good advice on how they could find internships if they're looking for that. A few students asked who were seniors. But we have the presenters come in each month, and it's always a different field of study. We've had doctors come in and speak to the students. We've had rocket engineers come in and speak to the students. We've had a wide range of presenters that just share their experience to help the students get an idea of the kind of field they want to one day pursue. And in the past, when we were in school in a normal environment, we also did STEM field trips to give the students the opportunity to see STEM outside of the high school setting. And we hope to one day go back to being able to do that. So the STEM pathway is not just the courses that guidance provides them, it's much more than that. It provides them with the presenters, field trips, and then additionally, the freshmen who join the STEM pathway, they're all put into a freshman advisory, which is great because it allows them to interact with their peers who are also interested in pursuing a STEM career. And it allows me the time to get to know them as a freshman and to answer any of their questions, especially in that advisory setting, which is very casual and very open for them to ask anything and to get to know me, especially because it's more of a club setting when we talk about the presenters and stuff. So that's just a quick overview of the STEM pathway. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Feel free, if anyone has any questions, if you'd like to unmute, that would be great to talk, or you can just throw it into the chat and we'll grab them as they go. The other thing I do want to reemphasize, something that Ms. Gibbs said, is the experience of our STEM pathway program. You can take STEM classes anywhere. It does not matter. But one of the things that kind of sets us apart is the fact that we're bringing in STEM practitioners. We're bringing in doctors and engineers and former graduates and Googlers and all sorts of people who are right now in STEM fields in to talk with the students, to present to both North and South through their lunch programs. And so you get that almost like one-on-one experience with these people to ask questions and see what the real world is going to be like. What do I do post high school in a STEM career? So Ms. Scott, I see you your question about nursing. Yes, absolutely. STEM pathway would be completely appropriate for someone in the nursing field. You can take any number of different science classes and still hit your mathematics technology classes. We do also have the anatomy and physiology honors program, which does have dual enrollment with Seton Hall University. So students can get dual credit for taking high school credits classes.
And just going off of her question, she asked, is nursing appropriate? I always try to talk to the students to see what their interest is. So when I go to find speakers, I make sure that I'm getting speakers they're interested in. So if a student expresses they want to be a nurse one day, I would do my best to go through my resources and see who I know that's a nurse that I can bring in to speak to the students. Mr. Siegel, I don't know if you want to talk more about the robotics program.
I could hop in and talk about that if you want. So in the math department, we offer a brand new course called Coding, Robotics, and App Development. It's a one-year elective course that many 9th and 10th grade students take as an introduction to computer science. And once they go through that course and learn some different programming languages and things about computer science, many of them often go on to take Advanced Placement Computer Science, which is a full year studying the Java programming language, and or AP Computer Science Principles, which is a full year course devoted to understanding the different aspects of computer science, like cybersecurity, coding, network analysis, and more. We also offer a Principles of Engineering course open to students who took Algebra 1, and that is another great place for students to learn a little bit more about what it's like to be an engineer, think like an engineer, and design different things. I've observed the engineering course at High School South, and they do some really interesting projects. They design 2020 college campus. If we were in person, what would that look like? I've seen some stuff with the rebuilding of the Sandy Hook Bridge way back when. But I know the teachers try to bring the real world into the classroom as often as possible.
We also
take.
Sorry, Doctor. And we also have our Technology Student Association, TSA program, which gets involved in robotics competitions throughout the school year as well.
So as far as the STEM pathway with electives, when you join the STEM pathway, you were given a skeleton that's described in the video and also on the course selection page, where it sort of maps out what you need to take and when. So we do recommend that, yes, that they take at least one STEM course per year. And that can be very easily done through a lot of our graduation required courses. The beauty of the STEM pathway is that, like we said, it's like a structure almost. Like students go in picking electives that align to their interests, but they would be coming from the STEM arena. Like Mr. Siegel said, it could be in anatomy and biotechnology if you want to go that route. If you really like math, we have statistics, we have advanced algebra, financial applications, we have advanced placement courses in calculus, etc. If you like marine science, we have courses in that area, environmental science. So you can really tailor it to your interests.
And also something that was said by a previous graduate, she said that she joined the STEM pathway program because she wanted to major in STEM. But one of the reasons she stayed at South was because she has also got an interest in art. And so one of her electives each year besides STEM was an art elective, and she made sure to take art all as many years as she could. So we do have that flexibility in there as well.
Students are able to join when they want to. We obviously recommend they join it when they come in. This way they can take full advantage of the offerings and be sure that they meet the course requirement for the STEM pathway. We are very inclusive. However, we do realize that some students might join in freshman year in a different pathway, but then their interests might evolve as they take a course their freshman year. So it is possible to switch over in the 10th grade. It's a little bit more difficult later on, but yes, we do allow some crossover if it's not during freshman year.
And also, I'm sorry, Doctor, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Gibbs, is that when students are scheduled for their advisory in 9th grade, they're scheduled into advisories with other STEM pathway students, so that when we do have the speakers that come in, the entire advisory goes right to the speaker. And this way, and not that you're not mixed, but is that you know that you have people of common class structures, common interests in that advisory during block 3 with you at the same time.
Yes, that's correct. All the freshmen are together in that advisory, which, like I said earlier, it's great because they get to know one another and they do take very similar courses. So I know just from last year, the freshmen in advisory, they would talk about their homework together, they would talk about their interests together. They were able to bond outside of the school setting, just getting to know one another and just having that time together, which is the benefit in joining as a freshman.
So there's a couple of questions in the chat about the application process and the skeleton of classes. There's going to be we've created a website for helping parents and students navigate the course selection guide process. That will become live tomorrow. And so you'll be able to see the STEM pathway program and what classes are available there, but you'll also be able to jump into specific areas of technology, mathematics, engineering, and see what the scope and sequences of those classes through the 4 years of the program.
Specifically to answer Miss Watt's question, for nursing, like Miss Gibbs was mentioning before, I don't know if you caught her discussion a little bit earlier, but what we try to do is we try to tailor the guest speakers to the student's interest. So for a student interested in nursing, we would reach out to our community contacts, see if we have a nurse or somebody working in healthcare to come in and speak to the students. I know that in Neptune, they offer live surgeries and things like that where students can Skype in and watch that. So we offer those options as well. We have Skype a scientist as part of our STEM pathway when that's available. And then in the science department, there is a biotechnology and anatomy course that students can take as electives. Mr. Siegel, maybe you might want to talk more about that.
I apologize. I was multitasking with specifically you want me to talk about?
For students interested in nursing, the electives available. So that would be the anatomy
right
course and the biotechnology course.
Correct. And we also have a med lab class as well. So the med lab and biotechnology classes are both semester-based classes. We also offer nutrition's part 1 and 2, which are excellent areas to get into if you want to go into the fields of nursing. So we have a lot of science offerings for nursing majors or nursing people interested in the medical fields. Something else we want to talk about is there was a question that came up earlier in the North presentation about the difference between an academy program and a pathway program. The pathway leaves you a little bit more flexibility in the courses that you can select. It doesn't lock you in as much. So as Dr. Kerrigan said, we give you like a skeleton set of courses to work with, but you can be, it's very flexible in what you want to take throughout that. So if you have a technology focus, yes, you can take a lot of graphic design and technology classes or photography. We have plenty to offer you as well if you wanted to go science, or if you want to be mathematics and focus more of your coursework in the mathematics and take 5 or 6 years of math, you can absolutely try and do those kinds of things well. We're just giving that as a structure, whereas academies kind of lock you in to specific courses for your 4 years.
And one more thing before we switch rooms, I just want to impress upon everybody that it is not mandatory to join any pathway. This is a completely voluntary way to structure coursework over 4 years and have access to additional opportunities during the school day. So no one should feel pressured or nervous about it. If you decide to go into 9th grade without signing up for a pathway, that's totally fine too. You could always join in 10th grade. But for students that display an interest in some area, we'd like to get them interested as soon as they come in and then tailor the opportunity a little bit more to their needs and interests. I just wanted to answer Mrs. Merlino's question before you guys start because I think it's a good one. The STEM Pathway program is completely inclusive. So there's no criteria for acceptance besides a student just being interested in STEM. There's no like course requirement a student would need or anything like that. Your child's 8th grade counselor will communicate the application information to you this year.
There will also be a website based off of the Middletown site that will cover all of the course selection information that you need to have for both the pathways and for regular courses. So instead of distributing a course selection guide book, we've created an interactive website that gives you more information about all of our different areas, plus giving you that skeleton breakdown of what a STEM pathway program would look like over the 4 years. So that will go live tomorrow when the scheduling window actually officially opens.
I can also add while we're waiting for some questions to come in that it really is a great program. In my 6 years as an administrator, I've seen students start as freshmen and graduate, having completed a senior internship and really finding their interest and go into college ready to, take on their area of interest and do additional research with professors and, really get a lot out of it. When I first started, I saw juniors and seniors dive into it, and now those students are graduating college with degrees in the areas they were interested in high school. So it's always good to see. And we bring those students back in as alumni speakers every January to motivate the current students. It's a really nice thing.
Yeah, and just going off what you said, Dr. Kerrigan, I had a student this year. We had a doctor come in and talk about her experience with COVID and working in New York City during this past year. And the student was like, nope, don't want to be a doctor anymore. Moving on. So the students do get to really experience what these people experience. They get to hear about what they go through. And the students either like, yes, this is for me, or like, hold on a minute, what do doctors do exactly? So it really is great for them to see what happens outside of school. What kind of commitment are you making when you say you want to do this future career?
What's also nice about the way that our program is scheduled is that freshmen who do join our pathway, our STEM pathway, are all scheduled into the same advisory program so that they can just move as a group. And something that Ms. Gibbs mentioned earlier was that they end up finding friends that they didn't know or had very similar interests or similar career choices down the road. And they're finding these people as ninth grade friends because we come from so many different areas for, around Middletown. So now they have a friend group that has a similar interest, is taking similar classes. They're going to see these people talk, these professionals come in and speak, and now they have a common language that they can connect with other freshmen on.
And the advisory period makes it very accessible for the students. So there's no additional work or outside of school time required of them. They can get access to these speakers and peers with similar interests during the school day. So it's built in.
I see Ms. Landkiller has your hand raised. Did you have a question?
Yes, thanks so much. I'm curious, two questions. I guess, what percentage of the student body signs on for one of these 4 pathways? And is it a very popular, in vogue thing? And also, do you need to apply, or, when does that whole process happen? Because I'm sure you have to select courses and lay that out way in advance. So if an 8th grader wants to join one of the pathways, do you do paperwork for that? And when does all of that happen in the 8th grade school year?
So this happens with the guidance counselor this year. They'll be meeting with students in the upcoming months to schedule them. And at that point, if they are interested in joining the STEM pathway, they'll get a Google form to fill out, and it's just express interest. Like I said, there's no grade requirement or additional things that we're looking for, just interest. Like we want to include all students and hope to tap into their passions and bring them out. But that will be done in consultation with the middle school guidance counselor and with parents as well. And you'll get a link to the form to do that. And the application will be due by April 20th.
And thank you. And how popular are these pathways? I know there are 4 of them. And is it something a very small part of the student body does, or are they growing? I know they're somewhat new. So can you speak to that just briefly?
Sure. I mean, if I had to take a guess, I would say at least half of the class of each grade is in a pathway of some sort. They're very popular, and I think it's because it provides a structure for their coursework, and they also get to hear from speakers and go on field trips, during a normal school year, and just make additional contacts that they wouldn't have made if they didn't hop on. So it's a nice thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for us? All right. Well, if there are no questions at this time, we'd like to thank you all for coming to the STEM Pathway Room, and we look forward to working with your students next fall. We wish you the best during the holiday season and beyond.